All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what is, let's be honest, one of the toughest chapters in the entire Hebrew Bible, Deuteronomy chapter 7. We're going to look at its commands for, well, total war, and really try to unpack the logic inside the text itself, how it connects this idea of destruction with divine love.
So you open up Deuteronomy 7 and bam, a divine command for total war. It's jarring, right? But what's the story behind it? The text itself doesn't just drop this command in a vacuum. It actually wraps it up in this huge story about promises and identity. So our job here isn't to put it on trial, but to really listen to the text and understand how it presents this on its own terms.
Okay, so first things first, we have to get a handle on the what. Before we get into the why, let's just be super clear on what the Israelites are actually being told to do as they're about to enter the Promised Land. What is the directive exactly?
So the chapter kicks off by listing out the opponents, right? 7 nations, the Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, you get the idea. But here's the detail you absolutely cannot miss. They're described as larger and stronger than Israel. Now that's not just a throwaway line. It's a deliberate choice. It immediately sets up this classic underdog story, and that is going to be key for everything that comes next. And then we get this. This is the core command. You must destroy them totally. There's just no ambiguity there, is there? It is a command for total, complete destruction. And honestly, this is probably the single most difficult sentence in the whole chapter. It really sets the stage for everything we're about to unpack. And it doesn't stop with the battlefield. Not even close. The text then lays out a whole list of rules, these prohibitions. And they're all about one thing: total separation. We're talking no treaties, no mercy, and a huge one, no intermarriage. Don't give your daughters to their sons, don't take their daughters for your sons. The goal here is literally zero mixing, zero integration. Okay, so that naturally leads us to the big question, right? Why? Why these incredibly extreme rules for separation? Well, the text actually gives a very, very specific reason, and this is where the whole thing pivots from a physical battle to a spiritual one. And here it is. This is the why. The text says that this foreign influence will turn your children away from following me to serve other gods. So the biggest fear here isn't about losing a battle or being outnumbered. It's a spiritual fear. The real worry is that if they mix, especially through marriage, their kids and their grandkids will start worshiping other gods. And that would basically destroy the entire foundation of who they are. This all ties back to a really central idea. The Israelites are called a holy people. Now, holy here doesn't mean perfect or better than everyone. It literally means set apart. They see themselves as chosen for a specific purpose, a special relationship with God. So for them, blending in and worshiping other gods isn't just, a minor mistake. It's a violation of their entire identity. So that leads to another question. How did they get this treasured possession status in the first place? Did they earn it? Were they the biggest or the best? The text actually sees that question coming and answers it head on. And this is so interesting. Look at how it's laid out. The common assumption would be, oh, you were chosen because you were so numerous, so powerful. But the text says, nope, wrong. It flat out says it's not because of your numbers. In fact, it says you were the fewest of all peoples. The real reason? It's simply because the Lord loved you and kept the oath he swore to your ancestors. It's not about merit, it's about love and a promise. And this quote really drives that point home. It talks about a faithful God who keeps this covenant of love for 1,000 generations. That's a huge long-term commitment. But, and this is a big but, notice the condition. It's for those who love him and keep his commandments. So it's a promise, but it's also a two-way street.
So what are the stakes here? What's the so what of this covenant? What happens if you follow the rules? And what happens if you don't? Well, the text is crystal clear about it. It's not subtle at all. It spells out 2 very, very different paths.
And look at this, it's laid out side by side. If you obey, God will love and bless you. Your population will grow, your kids, your crops, your livestock, everything will be blessed. You'll be free from disease. It's a picture of total prosperity. But if you disobey, it's the complete opposite: destruction, swift repayment, horrible diseases. And that word snare comes up again. You'll be trapped and it will lead to your ruin. The choice couldn't be more black and white. All right, so the text has laid out the what and the why. Now it gets super practical. It shifts to the how. Because you have to imagine the average Israelite is thinking, wait a minute,
These guys are bigger and stronger than us. The text knows this and anticipates that very human reaction, fear.
And check this out. The passage literally puts their fear into words. It asks the exact question they'd be asking. These nations are stronger than we are. How can we possibly drive them out? It doesn't just brush past their fear. It puts it right there on the page, which is a really powerful move because now it can answer it directly.
So what's the answer? Is it a new battle strategy, a secret weapon? Nope. The answer is remember. Do not be afraid. Remember well what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all Egypt. It's telling them to look back at their own history. The exodus from Egypt is their proof of concept. It's the ultimate example of how God's power can totally overwhelm a much stronger human enemy.
So here's the game plan that's laid out, and it's really a mix of the practical and the supernatural. Step 1, it's going to be a gradual conquest, little by little. And the reason for that is actually super down to earth, so the wild animals don't take over the empty land. Smart. But then you get the divine intervention. God will send the hornet, whatever that means, it sounds terrifying, and throw the enemy into great confusion. And the end result? Step 4, total victory. Their kings are handed over, and their memory is wiped out.
And the chapter wraps up with one last massive warning. It's all about the idols. See, it's not enough just to defeat the people. You have to destroy their gods' images. Burn them. Don't even think about keeping the pretty silver and gold on them, because that stuff is a trap. It's a detestable thing. And get this, if you bring it into your house, you yourself will be set apart for destruction. It's the same language used for being holy, but totally flipped on its head. It's a powerful, chilling warning.
So that leaves us with the core tension of this whole chapter, doesn't it? How can a text that commands total destruction also frame itself as being about a covenant of love? It feels like a paradox. But to really get what Deuteronomy 7 is saying, you have to hold both of those ideas at once. From the text's point of view, the brutal, radical separation isn't the opposite of love. It's presented as the only way to protect that special, loving relationship. They're like two sides of the very same, very complicated coin.